Good evening everyone, my name is Nosios and today I will present our study on tax evasion and the informal economy in Greece. This research combines survey data and bibliometric analysis to explore how tax evasion is perceived by the public and how academic research has examined this issue over time. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for shaping better tax policies and also addressing compliance challenges. Tax evasion and the informal economy are persistent issues in Greece, affecting public finance, economic growth, and social equity. While tax evasion is legally defined as the deliberate avoidance of tax obligations, the informal economy includes a broader range of unregulated economic activities, such as undeclared work and cash transactions that bypass official oversight. High taxation, institutional inefficiencies, and public distrust continue to fuel ongoing tax non-compliance. Informal economic activities constitute 20 to 25% of Greece's GDP, undermining fiscal stability and economic development. Therefore, addressing tax evasion requires reforms beyond enforcement, emphasizing transparency, fairness, and trust in public institutions. Therefore, the main objectives of our study are twofold. First, we analyze public perceptions of tax evasions, investigating the factors that drive non-compliance and the social attitudes toward fairness and institutional trust. And second, we conduct a bibliometric analysis to map out research trends on tax evasion and the informal economy in Greece. By combining these perspectives, we provide a more comprehensive understanding of the issue and offer policy recommendations for improving tax compliance. Our study followed a mixed method approach. We collected primary data through a structured online survey with 1,074 respondents, capturing attitudes toward tax evasion, social security contributions, and government trust. The survey included Likert-scaled items to quantify perceptions and identify key drivers of non-compliance. In addition, we conducted a bibliometric analysis of 140 academic publications on tax evasions in Greece from 1990 to 2025. The data set was obtained through Scopus database by using a Scopus query as seen here in the slide, and using tools such as Bibliometrics in R, we examined publication trends, keyword co-occurrence, and thematic developments. Therefore, with this approach, we combine real-world perspectives with academic insights on the subject. In this slide, we have the descriptive statistics table of our Scopus obtained dataset. Our bibliometric dataset consists of 140 academic studies from 111 sources, covering research published between 1990 and 2025. The average citation count per document is 13.62, reflecting moderate engagement with the topic. Notably, international co-authorship accounts for 17.86% of the publications, suggesting that tax evasion in Greece is a subject of international interest, often compared with similar cases in Southern Europe. However, the annual growth of publications remains stagnant, indicating that while tax evasion remains a critical issue, academic research on the topic has not expanded significantly over time. In this slide, figure 1 is a keyword analysis of academic literature, revealing Greece appearing most frequently with 34 mentions, confirming that the country is a focal point for tax evasion research. Other common terms include tax system, Italy, and Spain, reflecting frequent comparisons with other Southern European economies that share similar fiscal challenges. The presence of terms such as governance, informal economy, and corruption underscores the link between tax evasion and institutional trust. Interestingly, behavioral aspects of compliance, such as morale and perceptions of fairness, are also gaining attention in recent research. Moving on, in Figure 2, the thematic map categorizes key research areas in tax evasion studies. Core themes include the Greek tax system and comparative analysis with Italy and Spain. Behavioral aspects such as tax morale and compliance motivation have emerged as a well-developed research area. However, topics like transparency and public policy reform remain relatively underexplored, despite being critical concerns in both public discourse and policy making. This suggests that while tax evasion studies focus on structural factors, more research is needed on governance reforms and trust-building measures. In Table 2, we see the first table of the survey results. The survey respondents ranked corruption, political instability, and tax evasion as the most pressing economic and social issues in Greece. Corruption received a high concern score with a mean of 6.02, followed by the inefficiencies of the political system, which was rated even higher with a mean of 6.09, and tax evasion with a mean of 5.84. These findings suggest that tax compliance is not just an economic issue, but is deeply tied to governance and institutional effectiveness. Respondents also expressed concerns about public debt and the inefficiencies of the public sector, reinforcing the idea that tax evasion is perceived as both a consequence and a symptom of broader governance failures. In the next slide, in Table 3, our findings reveal that attitudes toward tax evasion differ depending on the type of non-compliance. Respondents were more likely to justify general tax evasion than social security evasion. The mean score for tax evasion acceptability was 4.11 compared to 3.77 for social security evasion. The difference suggests that while avoiding taxes is often seen as a reaction to high taxation and inefficient public services, failing to contribute to social security is perceived as more harmful because of its direct impact on pensions and healthcare. The concealment of economic activities, such as undeclared income and informal transactions, received a higher acceptability score of 4.38, indicating that some individuals consider informal work a necessary strategy for financial survival. However, opinions varied significantly, as reflected in the high standard deviation across all categories. This variation highlights the complexity of tax compliance, which is influenced by economic pressures, distrust in the tax system, and different moral perspectives on state obligations. These findings reinforce the idea that tax evasion in Greece is not simply about avoiding payments, it is a reflection of broader social and economic dissatisfaction. Addressing this issue requires not only stricter enforcement, but also policies that improve tax fairness and restore trust in public institutions. When asked why tax evasion occurs, respondents pointed to systematic factors rather than personal dishonesty. The most cited reasons were high taxation, perceived injustice in the tax system, and poor management of public funds, with a mean of 5.44 for both. Corruption and weak enforcement also ranked highly, with a mean of 5.19 and a mean of 5.23 respectively. And interestingly, very few respondents cited dishonesty or lack of personal responsibility as primary reasons for tax evasion, further highlighting that non-compliance is seen as a response to institutional failures rather than an ethical choice. Moving forward, as seen in tables 5 and 6, the survey sample includes a diverse range of age groups, with the majority of respondents falling between 31 and 50 years old. Specifically, the largest group is age 41 to 50, followed by those 31 to 40 and 21 to 30. These age groups represent the core of the workforce, meaning their perspectives on tax compliance are shaped by direct experience with taxation and economic policies. Older age groups, particularly those over 60, are underrepresented, which may limit insights on how retirees perceive tax obligations. In terms of gender, our sample consists of a nearly balanced distribution, with 575 male and 471 female respondents. This ensures that perspectives on tax compliance reflect a broad societal viewpoint rather than being skewed toward a single demographic. These demographics indicate that our dataset primarily represents working-age individuals, particularly those actively engaged in the economy. The responses provide valuable insights on how tax burdens, governance, and economic pressures influence compliance behaviors. To sum up, our study highlights that tax evasion in Greece is not simply a legal issue, but a complex socio-economic phenomenon. Public distrust in institutions, perceptions of unfair taxation, and weak enforcement mechanisms all contribute to non-compliance. While academic research has extensively analyzed tax evasion patterns, topics such as policy reforms and government transparency remain underexplored. Addressing tax evasion requires more than stricter enforcement. It demands institutional reforms that enhance public trust and demonstrate the benefits of compliance. Future research should focus on several key areas. First, the role of digitalization in tax compliance deserves further exploration, particularly in monitoring cash transactions and reducing informality. Second, sector-specific studies could provide deeper insights into tax evasion behaviors, especially in cash-intensive industries. Third, analyzing the impact of economic crises, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, on compliance patterns would help policymakers anticipate shifts in tax morale. Finally, greater emphasis should be placed on behavioral studies that examine how age, gender, and employment status influence compliance attitudes and to evaluate the effectiveness of institutional reforms, emphasizing transparency, simplified regulations, and strengthen public trust. In conclusion, tax evasion remains a persistent challenge in Greece, deeply intertwined with governance, economic pressures, and public perceptions of fairness. While enforcement measures are essential, sustainable solutions require a broader strategy that simplifies tax regulations, enhances institutional transparency, and rebuilds public trust. Our study provides valuable insights into both public attitudes and academic research trends, highlighting the need for policy reforms that address the root causes of non-compliance. Thank you very much for your attention and looking forward to your questions.